All right. So I attended one of those Philadelphia EDP tailgates.
Oh boy.
So it was and that was back when I thought that EDP was, kind of a lot better of a person than he actually is.
We all make mistakes.
Brian,
it's okay.
We all do. Brian, I'm sure he means well, but he's in the situation right now where that is his main source of income. When you look at a guy who his screen name on YouTube was EDP445, I'm sure it's very difficult to be hired, especially when you're like, oh, this guy's name is Brian, his last name. Oh, I'm going to look him up on Google. And then all of a sudden you see a video of some guy being like, I'm gonna twerk in front of the camera and I beat off 5 times a day and this is the best porn star ever. I'm sure it's not the best thing, but
yeah, it probably can't be too easy for him to. He's kind of made his bed, so he's at least lying in it now.
Yeah, but it was one of those games where we were coming in 3-5, they were coming in 3-4. There were a lot of Eagles fans there. What seemed like, again, a 2 to 3 ratio. 2 out of 5, were probably Eagles fans at that game. But I don't think anyone... I mean, I wanted Nick Foles to play well because, of course, I was, Nick Foles' biggest fan. I came into that game and, I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen. I don't think anyone thought that was going to happen. I mean, he just was throwing touchdown, and at a certain point in time, I turned to the guy next to me, the Eagles fan next to me, and I go, look, if Nick Foles isn't the starter of this football team, well, F this team. Just F this team straight to hell. And he looked at me, he's like, I don't know about that. And then I remember at the end of the game, they pulled Nick Foles, and obviously we got to see Matt Barkley. I'm so glad that Matt Barkley is doing something better for himself right now. They played very impressively against the Jets. But we were in the parking lot, and I was like, damn, Nick Foles, he played like a beast. And EDP looks at me, Bryant looked at me, and he's like, yeah, I guess he's pretty good. How many touchdowns did he throw? 3 touchdowns? And I was like, Bryant, he threw 7 touchdowns. And he looks at me like, have you ever seen the picture of the woman who can, she has the Guinness Book of World Records for being able to bulge her eyes out the most?
Yeah, okay, yep, I've seen that.
It looked like he saw a ghost. His eyes were bulging that wide. So, it was one of the greatest games. It was the greatest game. Let me be honest. It was the greatest game I've ever been to. I think I've been to 5 or 6 Eagles games in my life, and that was the best Eagles game that I had ever been to.
And let's be honest, he throws 7 touchdowns. I think 2 of them, maybe 3, but definitely 2 of them were thrown to Riley Cooper. So those should count.
3.
They should count.
3 of them, I think.
They should count for more than just 6 points when Riley Cooper is the one that's catching them, because that's just showing you,
they should.
And, like I said, everyone makes mistakes. I remember a time, when we drafted him, I was like, you know what, I'm the farthest thing from a Gator fan, but this guy, he was always a tough, from what, it's inevitable to get away from Gator stuff, especially back then.
Nothing good ever happens at a Kenny Chesney concert? Mm-hmm. Nothing good ever happens at a Kenny Chesney concert.
Exactly. But
at least in my opinion.
That was some fun times in the Riley Cooper era there for a short time, but I'm glad we moved on. Yeah. But at the time, he was our number 1 receiver. It is crazy to think that we could even score 7 touchdowns in a game when he was essentially our number 1 receiver at the time.
Yeah. Or he was the number 2, because we had Deshaun.
Right, but Deshaun was very, one-dimensional at the time. I feel like Foles definitely looked towards him more, and I don't remember if it was...
Yeah, at Cooper.
Yeah.
He had, Riley Cooper had, 5 or 6 touchdown receptions that season. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a wacky turn of events, that whole era, until, Foles, of course, comes back.